If after 4 episodes of Harley Quinn, you found yourself asking, but what about Nightwing? Didn't he go into the Lazarus Pit? Is the Joker TV's best dad? Then this episode is for you. Good morning, good evening, and good night. I am your humble host and intrigued viewer of the Harley Quinn show, Tony Bones. And today we are diving deep into episode 5 of season 5, an episode neatly nestled into the middle of season, strategically positioned to keep Batman fans tuning in each week, while Harley Quinn loyalists remain hopeful that the trailer's inclusion of Red X was a mistake, and that we could finally leave all that Bat Family baggage in Season 4 where it belongs. For those of you who find yourself in the middle of this Venn diagram, you likely anticipated that this episode would be the one to address all the lingering plot threads left over from last season. And for that I must say, well done. You get 5 of whatever Red X is throwing around in this episode, courtesy of Cartoon Universe. Now, I must admit something to you all, and I hope this doesn't affect your perception of me in any way, but I never really watched Teen Titans like that, so I didn't audibly gasp when his presence appeared in the Season 5 trailer. The only thing I really remember from the show is that arc where Beast Boy falls in love with that one girl, only for it to be revealed that she was evil all along. I don't know why that stuck with me, but it did. I guess I'm just a sucker for that type of storyline, which would explain why the Michael Morningstar arc from Ben 10 is also something I think about at least once every 3 months. My point is, I apologize if I'm not fanboying over Red X's appearance in this episode. I have no emotional connection to the character, nor did I even know that he existed until I saw everyone going crazy in the comment section. But I am glad he appears here though, because what Red X symbolizes is the end of my least favorite part of this show, the Bat Family. You see, I was one of those people who hoped that maybe we left the Bat Family in the ashes of Season 4, but no. The show seems to be contractually obligated to include at least one episode a season centered around the dysfunctional dynamics between the Batman and his descendants, and this season's entry caught me by surprise, as I assumed if it was going to happen at all, it would have been sooner in the season, as a way of getting it over with, possibly in a similar fashion to the way they washed their hands of the Gotham City Sirens plotline. And on top of that, I was riding the high of last week's surprisingly great Breaking Brainiac episode, anxiously waiting to see what he had in store for Harley and Ives. Not a single Bat Family related thought crossed my mind, and it felt good. I thought we were done, it was in the past, we could move forward, but after Sean the Shark dropped by and immediately started talking about how he can't stand his dad, I saw the writing on the wall. Because we can't talk about less than desirable father figures without mentioning the Mac Daddy of them all, Bruce Wayne. And it's not like he's an asshole or abusive or anything you typically see in a show trying to convey the bad dad trope. He's just a self-absorbed billionaire, running away from his problems, never telling anyone close to him that he loves them, which leads to nothing but complicated relationships with everyone close to him. It's very frustrating to watch. I mean, Damian Wayne's disinterested presence in this episode is living proof of this conundrum. From the jump, he's made it pretty clear that the only reason he's in attendance of his father's dinner party is because he's obligated to be, per the custody agreement between his mother Talia Ghul and Bruce. Don't you think Bruce should try a little harder with Damian, given the fact that he's his actual son? He seems to have more of a relationship with the idea of his past wards, Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, both of whom, to his knowledge, are no longer alive. This is something pointed out by the Joker, and possibly my favorite scene of the episode, where he and Bruce are sharing a schwitz in Bruce's private sauna. Joker basically sits him down and says, look, maybe you should prioritize those still in your life before they're gone. Wise words by the Clown Prince of Crime, whose character development in the show is just unrivaled in my opinion. Aside from the comedic image of Bruce Wayne and the Joker sweating out in a sauna together, I found this to be a surprisingly touching moment between the two characters. Joker may not know Bruce as Batman here, but Bruce's willingness to accept Joker's wisdom really captures the significance of their relationship. And if you think about it, there's a very real chance that Red X would have succeeded in killing Harley if this conversation did not happen. This just goes to show how much these characters have grown throughout the show. In Season 1, Joker is just an evil boyfriend, willing to leave Harley to die if it meant his survival. Now in Season 5, we've reached a point where he's indirectly saving her life through sentiments he's gained from fatherhood. I mean, what an arc, only in television, am I right? As for Bruce, it was good to see him open up to his kids and take a step forward like this. Hopefully he, Dick, and Damian can move forward together as a family, and hopefully Bruce continues to be more open about his feelings. I mean, in his defense, I guess I too would have a hard time being vulnerable if the people I love were constantly being murdered. But this isn't about me. This is about Bruce, in a show about Harley Quinn. Speaking of Harls, at the beginning of the episode, she reveals to Ivy that she's been seeing this giant skull in her dreams, and she's not sure why they keep recurring or what they mean. This is a detail that's subtly woven through the episode, and after the gang is attacked by Red X, Harley sees his skull-like mask and immediately associates the two. But we as the audience know this isn't the case. The skull from her dreams is actually Brainiac's spaceship, something that we've been seeing throughout the season as Brainiac is floating above Earth. At the end of the episode, Lois tells Harley that she also has been having dreams of the giant skull, and the two decide to team up and get to the bottom of this mystery. How very Scooby-Doo of them, I know, but honestly, this whole episode has a bit of a Scooby-Doo feel to it. The whole thing reminded me of one of those What's New Scooby-Doo episodes from the early 2000s. In these episodes, the characters were often invited somewhere for a non-mystery reason, only for a mystery to unfold around them. Think High-Tech House of Horrors, or that one where there's that Dune-esque sandworm and its legion of underground followers. In the case of this episode, it's the presumed murder of Alfred at the dinner party that sets things into motion. We even get a "I would have gotten away with it too" line from Dick Grayson during his exposition dump on why he's still alive. I guess if you need to have an episode that wraps up all the loose ends left by the previous season and showrunner, you might as well package it in a Scooby-Doo-esque box of shenanigans. Believe me when I say I very much prefer this outcome compared to the alternate season 5 we could have got where Red X is the main big bad and the Gotham City Sirens are trying to figure out who he is and why he's after Harley. All of that to me just sounds very predictable. I think it was a wise choice for the writers to subvert viewer expectations this way. This season could literally go anywhere from here, and that excites me. It's not being weighed down by all this Batman lore. While we're on the topic of Batman lore though, through this research process I learned that Alfred's alter ego, the Macaroni, is original to the show. I don't know why I totally thought this was like a nod to some obscure Batman comic from the 50s or 60s. Something I totally would have believed, by the way, given that his rogues gallery has characters like Egghead and Kite Man in it. That said, I think it's cool that Harley Quinn as a show isn't afraid to innovate in this way, especially with Harley being a product of Batman the Animated Series. So as much as I didn't necessarily love the Macaroni as a character, I do really appreciate the intention behind it. I think it's fun, you know, we're not limiting ourselves to just the comic books here. These shows should be an extension of this world, not a mirror. Now, earlier I touched on Lois and Harley teaming up at the end of the episode, and I want to circle back to that before I get carried away, because it got me thinking about where the show could be going from here, not just in regards to the rest of the season, but beyond that. I guess if I had to ask one big question, it would be this. What do the writers have in store for Harley as a character? Because right now she feels a little directionless. And is this team up with Lois an indication of where her personal arc is going? What if, and this is just an idea I had, so, you know, take it with a grain of salt, but what if Harley found herself working for the Daily Planet in some capacity? Maybe like a investigative journalist or something like that. Her experience as a psychiatrist could totally come in handy in this position, as both jobs require strong observational skills, critical thinking, and an understanding of the human behavior. Also, I feel like Harley has the perfect energy to make chasing leads fun to watch on this show. You know, like, it's a direction that could be similar to what they possibly wanted to do with the Gotham City Sirens plotline, but by setting it in Metropolis at the Daily Planet, you get a new environment, new cast of characters, and it also allows them to explore the Lois Lane character a little bit more, which is something I think they really want to do. The way throughout this season the running joke is she's just Superman's girlfriend. It seems like very Harley Quinn of them to then take that character and make her more important in later seasons, especially with Superman out of the picture at this point. I don't know, this is just an idea I had. Feel free to comment your ideas below. I am sure they are much better than mine. My fear is that with the Shaun the Shark character bouncing around a few of these episodes, the writers are just priming us for a Harley Ivy motherhood arc in future seasons. And I'm not saying they wouldn't make great parents. Harley's big heart and Ivy's motherly relationship to nature leads me to believe they would have no problem raising a child. It's just that bringing that element into the mix would be an easy way for the writers to give Harley something to do, and I would hate for that type of storyline to feel like a patch job. Also, how often does a show stay interesting after they've given the main characters kids? I feel like you either have to start with kids or end with them. Nothing screams, we're about to get cancelled, like watching Harley and Ivy argue over whose turn it is to stay up with the baby. Though, if they do go in this direction, I wouldn't be surprised if some sort of time jump was used to gloss over all that. But then again, how many shows remain solid after a time jump? Think of New Girl. Do we need that 7th season? I don't think so. What was so wrong with ending the show with Nick and Jess finally getting together once and for all? But hey, those are just my thoughts, my opinions. I'ma leave it at that. I want to know what you are thinking, not about New Girl, about Harley Quinn. Are you wanting the fantabulous domestication of one Harley Quinn? And if her and Ivy were to get married, who do you think proposes to who? These are just a few of the hard-hitting questions I recommend you ponder while we await episode 6 of Harley Quinn Season 5. I am so excited to see what's coming next. As I mentioned earlier, it feels like anything could happen at this point, and if that doesn't excite you, I don't know what will.
Man, I do love running, especially when it's away from women who are madly in love with me. But one thing I never run from is another man. Well, if it isn't my arch rival, Racer Rabbit. Shady the Bat, you're here for the magic crystal as well?